One, and we're live with another Atlas Lens Co. Tuesday telecast with fantastic technical production by B. I'm your host for today, Dan Keynes, and we have some very special guests. We've got Mark from Old Fast Glass and Clint from Ancient Optics. We have fantastic technical production from B. We've got Aldous and Josh from the Atlas team holding down social media. So if you have questions, be sure to type them in the comments section below. We'll do our best to answer your questions, address any topics you want to talk about. And our primary discussion today, we're going to be looking at two very different sets of lenses. We're going to be looking at the new Atlas Mercury Series Group 2 lenses, which include our 54mm, our 95mm, and our 138mm. And then we're going to look at something really special and totally unique and different, which are the new Peztvalux lenses. So yeah, for those who haven't heard, can you guys tell us a little bit about the Peztvalux lenses?
Sure. Yeah, they're based on the lomography design of the Petzval lens. They sort of brought the Petzval design back after 183 years. I guess about 170 years when they did it. They did it about 10, 12 years ago. And everyone kind of knows those lenses. They're started out with a 58 and an 85. Then they redesigned them and they made a 55 and an 80. And that's what we start with as the base optics for this set.
Now everyone talks about who is Joseph Petzval, but how was Joseph Petzval? That's a question I want to know. But Petzval, the Peztvalux name comes from Joseph Petzval, right?
Correct.
He was an optical engineer, doctorate, I believe.
Yes, a bit of a madman towards the end of his life as well. But an interesting guy, yeah. He was.
Class makes us all crazy.
Yeah, he was a mathematician mostly, but then got into optics and got into a fight with Voigtlander over this design, which is an interesting story, but it's a long one. And those two didn't like each other, so Joseph kind of lost the battle, actually, and kind of died not really famous, or, I mean, he's more famous now than he ever was, I would say. So it's a bit of a sad story, but a genius for sure.
So for those who don't know what Petzval curvature is, how would you guys describe Petzval curvature? Because actually the wide-angle Mercury series lenses have a significant amount of Petzval curvature, but how would you guys describe Petzval to people who are maybe new to the concept?
I mean, in a word, swirly. That's, if you want to just a simple one word, it's kind of a swirling effect in the background in the bokeh.
So is that sort of a form of field curvature, like a rotary distortion in the out of focus area of an image?
Yeah.
Yeah. So lenses that we all know that have Petzval curvature would be something like, for instance, the Helios 58. That's probably the most popular lens. It exhibits a pretty strong Petzval curvature, right?
The Biotar.
Yeah.
Biotar, also a similar design, a Zeiss design, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I'd say some of the rangefinders have a little bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really nice look because it's such a strong look. And I remember when those first Peztval lenses came out, and I noticed it with like portrait photography, wedding photography, and it's just like, it just grabs you, especially when you have your subject and your background at the right distance. It's just such a strong look. And if you find a background that sort of plays up to that look, that really like exaggerates it, it's fun. And you can see that a lot of people from both photography and cinematography get really addicted to playing with that look, because it's either a lens has it or it doesn't, and most lenses don't have it. And it's I think that, at least I know from dealing with our rental clients, people, when they're looking for a heavy look, they're looking for a heavy look. And I think it's one of the strongest overall looks when a lens does have that Petzval effect, that swirling bokeh, swirling background.
Cool. And so the lens that everybody is looking at, all of us through on the wide angle here on the stream, we're on a red V Raptor 8K, and we're using an Atlas Mercury Series 36mm, which is the Mercury Series lens that has the strongest Petzval curvature. You can't see it too much right now, but if you look at sort of the shape of the barrel distortion in the room, and if I throw it out of focus for a second here, I'll hold up a little prop lens. So we've got this beautiful 80 millimeter Peztvalux. So I'll walk up to this lens and we'll use it as a little prop example. So I'll rack focus. So you can see that the bokeh is swirling. The background is swirling, like especially on that red case.
Yeah, I can see it.
And we have this beautiful Peztvalux lens, and these come in LPL mount, right?
LPL,
Correct.
yeah.
And there's how many lenses in the Peztvalux series?
There's 5 focal lengths: 27, 38, 55, 80, and 120. But we do plan on adding a couple more.
Super cool.
Yeah.
So be sure to drop a comment about which Peztvalux lenses you'd like to see added to their grouping next. And you can see we got a nice crisp, clear shot on Clint and Mark there. And over here we have the Alexa Mini LF, which we have the Peztvalux 27 millimeter on. And in a second I'm going to switch from the Peztvalux 27 over to a Mercury series 54 millimeter to show you the first Mercury series lens in Mercury Group 2, which we just opened pre-order sales on just last week. So, you know, right before the holidays, got some beautiful footage coming out. We had a launch film called Fly, shot by Jonathan Pears, about flying in the Swiss Alps with gliders. And then we have a film dropping today with Julian Jari about Robert Maddox, who's the Rocket Man,
cool.
which that's going to be really pretty spectacular. So be sure to tune into our YouTube channel. Check out that Julian Jari piece dropping later today with Robert Maddox. Can't wait for you all to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And yeah, let's take a look at a Mercury 54. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
Sounds
please.
good.
Did you
And,
guys make any changes from the I remember I saw this lens, I want to say it was NAB or Cinegear, wherever you were showing it off. And I remember when I saw it, I said, that's my favorite one out of the set.
The 36?
No, the 54.
Oh, the 54.
54,
The 54, I think, hasn't changed since you saw that sneak preview of it. It's one of my favorites in the set. It's really hard to pick a favorite. As I'm sure you know, it's like lenses are like, you know, your children. You can't really pick a favorite, but we have ones that we tend to like certain aspects of better than others at times.
Yep.
I know how that goes at home. So let's throw up that Mercury 54. And so bear with me for a second. We'll stay on that camera while I switch the settings here. And be sure to comment. I see a question coming in while I'm changing this lens. The question is silver flares in the future. I'm not sure if you're addressing the silver edition of the Orion series compared to the kind of golden colored flares that we have with Mercury series. But right now we don't have any special edition Mercury series in planning. So right now we're focused on bringing everyone out there the Mercury series lenses that you all know and love. And they're kind of meant to stand on their own without anything special. I mean, if you like different stuff, you could always throw filters in front of them, but we think that the Mercury series lenses really are so unique in the marketplace, not only for their size, but their unique image qualities, the kind of geometric distortion that we have, the flare characteristic, the incredible close focus. They're a really unique anamorphic lens. In fact, I like to think that they're one of the most exciting things that's happened in anamorphic lens design in the last 70 years. We have a totally unique, patented focus system that drives the optical design behind the Mercury series lens. So over time we'll be able to reveal more about exactly how that works, but for now, know that it's truly unique, special, and there's nothing else like it. And what you're looking at through the Alexa Mini LF here, if we can switch to that.
Wow.
This is our 54 millimeter Mercury, and you can see we have this really beautiful two-shot of Mark and Clint here, and
Looks great.
Yeah,
quite clear, crisp, resolute.
That's crazy.
We're looking at this in LF mode, so you're seeing the full frame characteristic of the lens. I like to say that these lenses really have kind of multiple personalities in a way, so they work really great on a Super 35 sensor, and you have a little bit more control over the way the edge fall off looks because you're working in a smaller window. But when you go into the full frame sensor on a Mercury lens, you're getting more of that funky
Yeah.
anamorphic characteristic that some people like about vintage anamorphics.
I like it.
And we find that people often choose LF sensor formats because they're looking for the lenses to actually fall apart more rather than hold together. So you're not really using an LF sensor for like pristine characteristics like people would use VistaVision in the 1950s, just to have a bigger negative.
It's weird. It's sort of
Right.
an opposite.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Time is like a flat circle, right? We're
Yeah.
always inverting things. But yeah, you can see how crisp, clear, and resolute these two gentlemen are. And then I can go ahead and show a close-up of this 27 Peztvalux to show how close the close focus is with this puppy.
This is
So-
also quite an achievement.
Pretty good.
I'm right around a little over 2.5 feet away from the image plane here. And you can see how beautiful the bokeh looks.
Yeah.
I'm getting my workout curling. Peztvalux
That's a heavy
27
one.
in.
You chose the heaviest one.
Thankfully, I've been eating my Wheaties and doing my reps this morning already, so
Looks
check
great.
that bad boy out. These guys look great.
Going on what you were saying earlier, I do think that we're in a time where there are a lot of spherical lenses to choose from. I mean, the market's getting really, really flooded, but I really don't feel like still enough anamorphic options to give people everything they need. And like what you were talking about before, of these having their own look, before we even like get to maybe a silver edition, of just sort of kind of already appreciating what these are. I think when you first brought them to Old Fast Glass, we looked at them in the studio, I think that was one of the things that hit me the most was, I haven't seen this before. This is a new look. This doesn't remind me of this or this. This is new. And I think that's really exciting for people who love shooting anamorphic, because we do need more options. And I do remember our studio really did show off the unique bokeh of the 36, that like swirling bokeh. And right away I was like, all right, this is great. This is different. This is gonna make people happy.
I really love the color palette of your setup too. Like
Thanks, man.
The blue color and the art direction in the space is really beautiful. And you know, for those who are looking for sort of a more neutral flare color, I'm just using about a 6,500 degree Kelvin or 7,000 degree Kelvin flashlight to flare the lens now, and you can see it's sort of got more of a neutralish color. It's flickering because it's an LED, and it's like pulse width modulation that's driving those LED drivers. But you know,
It just kind of takes
it's
the
pretty-
color of your source.
It's pretty neutral. I mean,
Yeah.
it's golden. It's kind of a golden straw color. And then if we use something like this tungsten maglite, which is, you know, my favorite go-to, you'll definitely get that deeper amber straw color. But yeah, with a daylight source, you know, these are definitely not as like chromatically deep in terms of the color palette, color gamut of the flares. Like an original Orion series, people tend to hit those with very deep blue light sources on something like a Sony sensor, and you're going to be out of gamut when you do that. You know, we've got a magnesium fluoride coating that gives those blue flares on the original Orion series, and with these, it's a lot more gentle gamut in terms of the color distribution with the Mercury series coatings. So be sure to get your hands on them. You can actually rent them at Old Fast Glass. So
Yep.
check out OFG.
Yeah, we got
a
two
couple
sets.
sets of Mercuries, and yeah,
If you can catch them.
Yeah, they have been
They go out.
popular right away, and you're absolutely right with looking at them for different formats. And we've talked about that with people of what are you trying to get out of them? Like, are you going to have people spread across the frame, and you got to have everyone's eyes sharp from edge to edge, or are you going to be center punching more, which a lot of people do with anamorphic? Because that was the first thing I noticed. If you're shooting these Super 35, you can kind of place somebody wherever you want.
and
You
that's
can put
kinda
their
how
eyes
the Orion
anywhere.
series work too.
Yeah.
So the Orion series have a very flat field curvature by design, so you can really hold edge to edge with an Orion series lens. And then with the Mercury series, you in Super 35 do have a fairly flat field in that zone. And then once you get into full frame territory, you do start to have more edge fall off. So
Yeah.
you know, it's another creative tool in the tool set that you can use
Yep.
however you wish. So I'm going to very quickly switch to the 95 mil Mercury, then we'll go to the 138, and I'll look for questions, and then we're going to go through the Peztvalux lenses. So I see another question coming in. What is the launch price for the Group 2 set per lens? So for the Group 2 Mercury series lenses, the list price is $7,995 per lens. If you get in your order before March 2024 with a reservation of $995 per lens, you're going to be able to get those for $5,995 per lens, which is a pretty significant bargain. You could say it's even a Black Friday without even thinking about Black Friday.
I'd say that's a sale.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a deal. It's a steal of a deal. You might have to wait a little bit. That's the trade-off. So by putting in your early pre-order deposit, you are going to secure the best possible price for these lenses, but you'll also be first in line for the delivery, but it will be a little bit of time. We're going to be definitely delivering the Mercury Series Group 2 lenses within about 9 months of the pre-order.
Nice.
So
My
it's a
order's
little
in.
faster than the ramp up. Thanks for your pre-order.
Yeah.
We appreciate
Oh
it.
yeah.
So I'll slap that 95 on real quick, and then we'll take a look at the 138, and then we'll look at some Peztvalux and take some more questions. Will the Mercury Series Group 2 lenses cover a medium format sensor? I'm glad you asked. So one of my personal new favorite hybrid cameras that's just come to the marketplace is the Fujifilm GFX 100 II. And that camera really is quite stunning. And these Mercury Series lenses will actually cover the 16:9 format
Nice.
on the GFX 100 II. There's a lot of different modes, so I'm going to recommend my favorite, the 4K 16:9 mode, which actually gives you a larger imaging area. They have an 8K mode, but that windows in and uses like a 1-to-1 pixel. You're kind of pixel binning for best light sensitivity and larger density, I guess, larger coverage by going to that 4K mode on the GFX 100 II. And coincidentally, that GFX 100 II 16:9 mode is actually basically almost line on line with a 16:9 recording mode on an Alexa 65.
Yeah, same
so
height,
if you want to compare
right?
those, it's actually like basically
Same height and like
same height, almost the same width.
Yeah.
If you want to use phfx.com/format compare, shout out Phil Holland and a fantastic format compare tool. You can actually line up all the different formats and see how the coverage kind of interacts between different sensors, different brands. And that Alexa 65 16:9 mode, which they call 178, lines up pretty well with the GFX 100 II 4K 16:9 mode. So that's basically perfect for the Mercury series. And you can see we've got this great close-up of Clint.
So you're saying it covers the Alexa 65?
Well, it won't cover edge to edge.
Yeah,
It
but
will
that's-
cover you for a 266-to-1 or 240-to-1 delivery.
It's amazing.
Great.
Yeah, that's all you need.
So, there's pros and cons to any format. I mean, definitely hit up Airy Rental if you want to get an Alexa 65.
Yeah.
It's, to me, one of the coolest cameras still. It's coming up on maybe 9-10 years old almost at this point. But, fantastic films like Parasite, other great films with the Alexa 65, you really can't go wrong with an Airy sensor. I mean, I love all cameras. I'm pretty camera agnostic, but that Alexa 65 is truly something unique and special.
I also love the GFX.
Yeah,
Like, I bought it
it's a
right
beautiful
away.
camera.
Right away I bought it, and just been playing with it. Pretty amazing.
Yeah. Images are
Addictive,
good.
right?
It's super addictive, and the
The
video,
autofocus is good too. If you've
it's-
got autofocus lenses.
everything's good about that camera.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really impressed with that one.
Strong all-rounder.
Yeah,
Yeah. They did
definitely.
well.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
So if we can cut back to the Alexa, I'll just pan over. So, 95 is really a fantastic portrait lens.
Yeah, it is.
Looks great.
And this has really pretty incredible close focus for such a telephoto lens too. So I'll get that Peztvalux 95 out here again.
Are you
And
wide
this guy
open
goes
right now?
down to 3 feet.
Is this wide open, Dan?
This is just not quite. That's wide open there.
Got
so
it.
I'll go back to.
Wow.
There we go. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's a winner too.
Yeah.
So how many lenses in the full set then?
It's a 6-lens set now. So in the Mercury series, we have the 36, the 42, the 54, the 72, the 95, and the 138.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty solid. Cool. So I'm going to swing over to the 138 real quick.
Yeah, let's see
And
it.
I'll look for some other questions. We have another question. When will the first batch of Mercury start shipping? Had my pre-order in a little over a year. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for having your pre-order in. They are shipping. They will be getting to you soon. Just hang tight. Thanks for your pre-order reservation. We are crushing it here. So we're shipping sets of lenses weekly. Soon enough, your order will be shipping. Thank you. And if people want to order Peztvalux lenses, how can they do that?
Yeah, they can contact Ancient Optics directly. info@ancient-optics.com is the email, or you can reach out on Instagram @ancientoptics. Just send me a message. It's pretty easy. We take deposits. First lenses are shipping next month, so in a few weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, in a few weeks they start shipping, and there'll be a pretty steady stream of them coming out for the next few months. Ooh, what's the close focus here?
The close focus on this guy, let me go, it's just under 4 feet. So
That's still pretty damn good.
back out just a hair. There you
There
go.
it is.
So
That's nice.
That is real nice.
great for your Western.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny you say that. I'm just amazed how small you kept them. I
Yeah.
don't understand. It seems to defy physics.
But making people very happy.
Yeah.
There's not a
Yeah.
lot of anamorphics this size. I mean, for small, genuinely small, we really had the Koas, and
Yeah.
that's about it.
Yeah.
Which are nice, but they're not right for everything. And it's just really nice to have another set of lenses that are as beautiful as these, but also small. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so proud of our team here at Atlas. It's really, every day I get to come work here with these people is an honor and a pleasure. Have a lot of fun. And it's always great to be kind of changing the world of cinematography a little bit at a
Yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm.
And I see someone asking, I can't find a comparison of the 42 and 54 anywhere. I don't know if you're doing tests right now, but if so, I'd love to see it. Well, I'm glad you asked. If you head on over to the Atlas Lens Co. YouTube, you can see a myriad, a barrage even, of Mercury series tests. There's so many Mercury series tests, and you can actually scrub through. We're going to index them with timestamps so it's even easier to find stuff. But for now, actually, we have so many different shots of Mercury series across such a wide variety of cameras. But don't hesitate. Tell us in the comments what camera system you would like to see Mercury series and Orion series lenses, and even the Peztvalux lenses, tested on the Atlas Lens Co. YouTube channel. We are doing it. So you can even find them on a Canon Rebel T3i.
Nice.
Better believe it.
That's nice.
The test footage you've compiled with these is really solid. It was so good that because we had no chance to shoot anything of our own. So we put a link to one of your videos just right on our website because there's such a variety, which is nice. You're seeing the lenses in a lot of different settings on multiple cameras, and you get a really, really good idea of what they look like. So
Thank you. It's hard to kind of create a compendium of all the different things that people want to see, especially as the product line grows. You have a bigger matrix of things to test, but the 54 and the 42 are for sure on those tests. So check them out, and be sure to comment what you want to see next. We're going to test it. We're going to put those cameras up. We've got a Red 1 MX in the running.
nice.
Yes.
Be
Let's do
sure
that one.
to tune in. Film, we got you. 16 millimeter, 35 millimeter, we're doing it. So be sure to let us know. Next couple months, you're going to see it on the YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe if you're not already, and you'll get notified as soon as those new tests come out, which they do come out weekly. Proud to say. Thanks, team. So that's it for the 138. I'm going to be looking for questions, and then I think we'll run through the Peztvalux. Why don't we start with the telephoto one, since we started with the wide, and then we'll go back down, starting with the 120 Peztvalux, and wind down through the series. And I'll be looking for more of those questions coming in as we go. Alrighty, here we go. Switching it up. Everybody excited for the Thanksgiving holiday in America? I know I am.
I definitely am.
One of my favorites. Always.
It's on there.
Didn't know my own strength.
That's set to 1.
So I want to address one of the most interesting and special and unique attributes of these Peztvalux lenses, and it's something that most people have maybe never seen before, which is there is a third ring on these Peztvalux lenses. And it's not because they're freaky. It's because actually they are a little freaky.
A little bit.
You turn that dial and they get weird. So we can actually illustrate that for you. What would you call that third ring? I like to call it a look dial, but what do you guys like to call it?
Tuning?
Yeah, we're calling it tuning ring.
ring?
Lomography, who invented this whole idea on this lens, they call it bokeh control. So sometimes you'll see BC, like we use a BC as an indicator for the new infinity mark when you start to mess with that dial.
I call it Balenciaga control. Because it's stylish, baby. All right, so look at that. So I got Clint's left eye perfectly in focus there, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that BC dial. I'm at a 1 right now. And I'm going to slowly start turning that, if I can figure out how. I've done this before, I swear. So we're coming up on a 2. That's a 2 on the dial. And I'm going to make sure my pan lock is locked, so I'm not panning around like a 49er panning for gold. All right, here we go. So back to 1. Watch what happens to the background, and watch what happens to Clint. He's getting more spherical aberrations, getting a little softer there. Look at that. Ooh. Dreamy.
And then
It does change your focus position just a little bit, right?
It does.
Everything shifts.
Everything shifts,
But I see the whole field curving as we do it. That's a trip. Look at that. So we just went to focus on his ear. And would you say this kind of adjusts the through focus characteristic of the lens too? Like where the best point of focus starts to where it ends, so you get kind of a different sort of a through focus characteristic? That's something that we did with the silver edition lenses, is adjust the through focus quality by adjusting the spacing of some of the elements and the precision level of some of the elements.
And that's exactly what's happening. You're changing the relationship between certain elements, and it's heavily affecting obviously spherical aberration, but it changes every aspect of the lens. So I mean, I think there's going to be people that are going to say, I'm going to shoot this whole project at 1 or 2 or 3, but I also think what's nice about having the tuning ring right there is, depending on the setup you have, like the specific shot you're lining up, being able to change like field curvature, being able to change just how much focus fall off there is from center to edge, what your bokeh looks like. Being able to adjust that all on the fly, shot by shot, moment by moment. It's a lot of control.
It's a very emotional dial, actually. It's like an emotion dial. Like I feel like
Definitely.
the quality of the way Clint's face was drawn really changed as I rolled through. So I'm at a 7. If you make a Mark II of these, you have to go to 11 though.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, we'll do it. sort of regret starting at 1.
Yeah.
We talked about it after. We were like, maybe we should have started at 0.
0 to 11, yeah.
Instead of 1.
But I think that was it was honoring the lomography
Yeah.
Dial settings, which if anyone's familiar with those, are the same layout.
Really nice.
Yeah, this 120 has become one of my favorite telephotos. I don't personally love telephoto lenses just in general. I prefer medium and wider lenses, and this is the first telephoto spherical lens that's really intrigued me because it has such a heavy look. I love it.
Cool. Let's swing over to the next longest lens, which I think is the 80, right?
You have it over there?
I've got it over here
you
on the
got it
plate.
over.
So I'm going to swing
55.
from the beautiful 120 Peztvalux to the 80 Peztvalux
Here's
here.
a 120 cap.
And while I'm changing lenses, I'm going to try to answer questions. So never say I can't multitask. How do you compare the first group of Mercury series lenses to the second? They're not different. They're one family. So, you know, I'd say get them all. They're like Pokemon. That's the best thing I can tell you is that
Like Pokemon.
Atlas lenses are like Pokemon. Got to catch them all.
I mean, I do think that there was, and it was a similar rollout with the Orions where you had the A set and the B set, and we did have people kind of looking at them as 2 separate sets, and we really tried to, you know, let people know you don't have to think of them as 2 separate sets. This is just the way the lenses were doled out. Pick whatever mix of focal lengths you want. It's one big set, and it's the same with. Wouldn't you say it's the same with the Mercuries? It's a set of 6.
It's 100% the same concept. So if you look at us, you know, people think, hey, Atlas, big name, right? Sounds like holding up the whole world. Sounds like a bunch of big, beastly people. We're just a small group of people that really care about cinematography here in Glendale, California. We're doing the best we can. So we can't necessarily always roll out 6 lenses at the same time. We have to escalate and work our way up to that because we want to not only meet your expectations for what an anamorphic lens can be, we want to far exceed the possibilities of what even came before. And so sometimes you have to do that 1 foot in front of the other, maybe 3 lenses at a time. And so with the Mercury series, just like with the Orion series, we found that the minimum viable thing to do was get 3 lenses out there and then get the next 3 lenses out there and put those feet in front of each other, keep marching forward. And we split the grouping up in a way that we thought was logical. But we want to hear from everybody out there, you know, what works for you. And I think I see a second question coming in, and we're looking at this beautiful 80 Petzvalux here. If you're just joining us, we're doing a little lens walk and talk through the Mercury series Group 2 lenses from Atlas and the new Peztvalux lenses from Ancient Optics. And we have Mark and Clint here helping showcase the lenses, talk through everything. And really, like, we're just doing the very best we can. Why do people think the 54 is special? I think different attributes really resonate with different people. So for some people, that field of view, it's pretty similar to a 36 millimeter spherical lens. So if you're someone who's drawn to a 35 or a 40 in spherical focal lengths on full frame or 35, the 54 might be a size that really works for your sort of way of seeing the world.
I think that's true for me. I think that's why I was drawn to it.
Nice.
As soon as it went on, I was like, yep, that's the field of view that I like.
I like to go just a little bit wider, so I'm probably a 42 guy. I like to think of, I'm also 42 years old, so Desert Island lens, the 42.
That's your lens.
You'd never know looking at this baby face, right? But yeah, I think 42 is like probably one of my favorites. 42 is also the meaning of life, so ask yourself, what lens do you want? And then come visit us any Wednesday Lens Day here at Glendale headquarters. We have crepes, we have coffee, we have all this, we have Josh, we have B, we have me, and we have a lot of fun. So it's like meant to be kind of a community hangout. Bring your own camera, bring your own lenses. Let's kick it, let's talk lenses, let's try stuff out. Point a flashlight at the lenses. You can record your own clips, you can take clips with you. It's really meant to be something that every Wednesday is a big Wednesday. It's a hangout. make it your thing. If you're anywhere nearby, come through on a Wednesday lens day. If you're visiting Los Angeles, if you live in the Los Angeles area, make it a priority. I guarantee you won't regret it. You're going to have a blast. And see the Atlas Anamorphic History Museum. I think you're going to love it. So next, we're looking at this 80 Peztvalux. This is probably one of my favorites. Wow. This is really super for me. I think this would be my desert island lens in terms of a Peztvalux, maybe. Mm-hmm. And this is with a look dial at a 1 right now. So I'm going to pan over to this handsome gentleman here, and then I'm going to turn the look dial. So we're at a 1. I'm going to slowly start turning that.
Might want to get a little more.
This way?
Or maybe the tree the other way to get something in the background.
Get that foliage.
There we go.
Foliate.
Yep.
We're going to exfoliate ourselves here. So that's at a 1, and I got to get best focus on your pupil there. That looks good. Now I'm going to start cranking that look dial, and you'll see the foliage go crazy. I like how I can see what I think looks like a little bit of astigmatism coming in too.
There's a little more than you think.
I'm digging that.
A lot.
You'll really see it with a little bit of out of focus lights kind of, close to the lens. You start to really see it. I mean, to me, it looks like the deconizer that everyone's familiar with, that look.
You see, when I'm on the edge here.
I'm going to tilt up. You can really see it going
smears.
crazy in the Atlas logo here.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
It's almost like the type design just went crazy. Psychedelic, dude. And it's bulging off the wall. Look at that. What a trip. I love this. Yeah, I mess with this. This is definitely...
They're fun.
I'm stopping down. Very gradual progression in terms of the transmission. Nicely extended range on the iris. So it's almost like, wow. Look at that.
Yeah.
You can see the three-dimensional quality to the bokeh. It's literally popping off the wall from a flat sign. That's too cool. And some of the samples, I think there was someone playing basketball in one of the samples that I saw.
I don't know if that was anything.
Maybe
that
it was
we
a commercial
posted.
project that someone used.
Maybe.
It looked great.
Yeah, I think it's like, I think I said this on the last one, but it's like the Wild West. It's like we don't really know what all the looks are out of all of these focal lengths because they didn't exist before. So I'm really curious to see what people shoot and how they use this effect.
Yeah, exactly. And I think 95% of people that have been messing with these lenses in the short time they've been out, everyone's been shooting them wide open. And you just stop down. It's like you have the tuning ring, which obviously just stopping down, you're gonna control the effect too. And the more you stop down, the more you can control it, the less of the effect. So yeah, I think we're going to see. I'm excited to see what people do with these because there are a lot of possibilities with a lens like this that you can tune basically on the fly.
Incredible. So should we look at the 55?
Sure.
And I think we'll look at the 38, and we'll ask if there's any more questions out there and wrap it up if that works for everybody.
Sounds
good.
Cool. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. This is a treat for me. I hope everyone else out there in the wide world is enjoying this as well. It's always a blast to get to hang out with friends and colleagues, people who share similar interests in the world of lenses and cinematography.
You were talking about delivering these lenses and having to do 3 first and then the second batch of 3. And I think people don't really realize how much work goes into making just one lens. They think, oh, you take the glass and you put it in the metal and then you just do that 100 times and then you sell 100 of them. It's, I guess that's it's a million times harder than that. It's like building a car from scratch. every time. It's not like put this puzzle together, color by numbers, and then just deliver them. I don't know how much of that you're willing to share about your process, but I imagine there's a good reason it takes this long to make these, especially, and then you add anamorphic on top of it, and now everything just gets exponentially more complicated.
I mean, I think the thing for me and for our team is my personal favorite magic trick, which is how do you take something insanely difficult that just takes determination, willpower, fortitude, just showing up every day and being able to balance all that and do it repeatedly, but make it look easy. So that's the best magic trick, is how do you take something that's incredibly difficult, but figure out how to make it appear simple.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's two edges to that, which is that, like, of course, that means everybody expects it right away. And when you look at something like an iPhone, where they have a product cycle every year, and the consumer expectation driven by a product like that is insane. So, in a way, you know, in more than one way, Apple is really an inspiration for me. The fact that that company started from a garage with two people, basically, with a dream to change an aspect of the world, and something that they really enjoyed. Like, they really loved computers. They just had a blast doing that. That is what ignites a fire in me, is seeing people so stoked about something that they'll do whatever it takes to get to the next level, and just keep focusing on it, keep polishing it, and then eventually it turns into something magical. And like now it's like unattainable. Like it's, you know, it's really gone to this like Mount Olympus level of like insanity. So that's inspiring to me. I think it's cool. It's fun. You know, there's pros and cons to everything. Like, you know, you could easily lose your mind in all this, but
and I think that I think what people might not realize is, I'm sure, I don't want to speak for you, Dan, but I know for myself, for Clint, you know, when people are wondering, when is that going to be ready? When are those lenses going to be ready? No one wants them to be ready more than us. No one wants these things to be out there making images more than us. I mean, we've got projects we've been working on for years. You know, when I put my pre-order in for the first set of Mercuries, it was like, all right, I'll see those in a year or so, you know, but I'm used to it, and I know that like really good things are worth waiting for. And I don't know about you guys, but that year went by like that for me. And so then when I got the email from Atlas, your lenses are ready, I was like, oh really, already? I was almost on that side of it, of like, oh, that's great, here they are. But yeah, this stuff does take time. They are precision instruments, and everything does have to be perfect. And so yeah, they are worth waiting for, and they take a while to build.
very well said. I don't think I could say it that well.
That's true for most things that Mark says. He says things really well.
Yeah, well spoken.
He's a well-spoken gentleman.
Ding. Okay, I thought the 80 was my favorite, but now I'm really in love with the 55.
This is my
Mark's
favorite. This is my favorite. But yeah, I mean, and I'm in the same ballpark with the 55 or 54 Atlas. I like a lens where I feel like I can step back and get a two-shot, get a wider composition, but also can kind of walk it in and get a close-up that I also really like, and that's what I like about this lens. I think it's really flexible. Medium close-ups look amazing, but you could kind of live on this for most of a shoot, I think, and be really happy with it.
I mean, it's insane how out of focus you are right now, Mark. And then
And if I just go over here,
Well, and that does create more of that separation. I mean, the trees behind Clint, and when you're focused there, I mean, the trees behind Clint.
I mean, look at my shirt.
Not that far away, and it's completely out. Yeah. Where are you on the tuning ring right now?
I just went to a 7,
Yeah.
just to throw it as wacky as possible.
And that stuff over Clint's shoulder here, the way it just warps and curves around.
Yeah, you can see the chrome on the lamp.
Yep.
Turn the look dial, so I got his pupil in focus really well there. I'm gonna crank this back down, and you can see it being less distorted, and I just got to bring it back in focus.
I think that's another. I mean, we were talking
Make it
about
much
sweet
more
spots.
round. Yeah.
We were talking about sweet spots, and like this is the funkiest. Like now we're on a open gate, or we're on a not open gate, but we're on Alexa LF. You know, throw this on an Alexa Mini, and you're gonna lose a little bit of that funkiness on the edges, and it becomes a little bit more manageable of a set now, a little bit less quirky and weird. I'm kind of curious to see what people do with the Alexa 35 and these lenses.
Yeah, this is really, really cool. I like it. And the housing quality is excellent. So I really like the feeling of the movements. It's really well dialed. And
GL's on another level these days. Like they're really dialed in their rehousing, their quality control. It's nothing like it was in the beginning. They've come so far. I think it's undeniable that they're part of the top 3 rehousing companies now, like for sure.
Yeah, and they've been amazing to work with. I mean, just taking the 27, for example. I mean, the first one, it was great lens, but it did need a little bit of work to be really cohesive in the set. And I mean, from version 1 to version 2,
6 weeks maybe, something like that.
A working done like that, the one that's here, 6 weeks for a redesign and rebuild. It's just incredible.
Yeah, the pace that they can accomplish things is remarkable.
So I'm going to swing over to the last lens that we want to show, I think, and then while I'm doing that, I'll answer one more question, which is, what did Atlas learn in the transition from going from Group 1 into Group 2 of Mercury series? And I would say the top thing that we learned was how to build lenses faster. So it's incremental, and you know, there's so many unique attributes to the optical design of a Mercury series lens compared to an Orion series lens that there were a few hurdles in optimizing the way the mechanical systems work together, and we really refined that. We've got the tolerance stack really well set up now, so it's easier to do things repeatably and just kind of one up where we were in terms of the speed, especially of the rollout. So we should see those Group 2 lenses faster than it took from 0 to 100 on the Group 1 series.
Nice.
And then I see someone else asking a question, which is, and I'm going to throw that 38 up while we're talking. I think you have the 38, or maybe.
Oh yeah, right here.
So the question I see is, are these rehoused Lomo lenses or totally different optics with a similar design? They're not Lomo. I'll let you guys answer that. They're not Lomo, but rather lomography.
Lomography, which is
different. I'll let the
different.
gang here answer that question.
Yeah, it's not the Lomo lenses that we're used to seeing in the cinema industry.
From the former Soviet Union.
Yeah, this is from a company called Lomography, and they made the source glass, which is basically made for SLR still cameras. The mechanics weren't up to speed for what we need them to be, but the glass and the optical design was exactly what we needed it to be. So we started with those 2 focal lengths, and then we would add our own optical formulas to those lenses in order to make the rest of the set, which in our view is crucial. You have to have a full set as a cinematographer. If you're going to take these out on a job and you want them to be more than a specialty lens, you need a wide lens, you need a medium lens, you need a long lens, and you need the ones in between those. So was our goal, and we set out doing that, and I think we did it. Now it's just adding a little bit of fun focal lengths to this, but this is a very usable set now. So lomography glass with our own optical formulas.
I'm so curious. I mean, I'd like to travel back in time to the introduction of lomography. I mean, those are the people who brought us the lens baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would never call it a lens baby. I'd call it a lens man. Anybody see Trolls 3? I saw it this weekend. It's fantastic. Yeah. But this is the 38 Peztvalux. This is pretty cool.
This is your favorite, right?
It's my favorite. Again,
it's a good one.
It goes back to that field of view that I like, and I always wanted a Petzval look at this with this field of view. So this is sort of a dream come true for me. Is this, And I did a lot of documentaries, and I still do documentaries. So like this to me is the perfect interview lens. this feels like you're sitting with someone. You can center punch them, and you're going to let the background go. I mean, this is a very typical kind of setup for an interview. You'll roll up somewhere, some guy's office, and you've got a plant and a light and a window and a white wall, and not a lot of space. So something like this can really help you separate your subject from the background and just make it look more interesting. So I was always dying for a 38-40 millimeter Petzval lens design, so that's why this one's my favorite.
I like this one at a 7.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is they're each their own little monster.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, like at 1, I feel like the shape of the field is almost kind of like a cone. Like it's very pointy. It's like very center punch.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of actually there's like a donut to it or something. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's at a 1. But then as I rack the ring, and I'll refocus you.
You can really see the circle, that swirling bokeh.
Yeah, I think this is the one, yeah, right, where if you go back to a 1, the edges actually look a little more blurry on this focal length. Like, see how out of focus I am when you're focused on Mark?
Yep.
Yeah, but the center is
But
sharper.
The center's sharper.
Something about how it handles color too. It's very like, the colors have kind of like a candy attribute, not in a negative way. It's like I think it has to do with the way the longitudinal chromatic aberration is handled. There's not a lot of longitudinal CA, but the way that the colors are bundling, it got color punch to it. I like it. Like you said, this would be killer for an interview. And I think like a skate video with the 27 would be sick.
Yeah.
Wow, fantastic. Well, let me see if there's any other questions coming in. Otherwise, I've had such a fantastic time chatting with you gentlemen today.
Very fun.
Chatting
It's
with
been great.
our audience here. Love the engagement. Hit us with a few more questions. If you can get your questions into the DMs before we sign out for today, we're going to do our best to answer any questions you have. But what a treat looking at the Mercury Series Group 2. Check out our YouTube channel later today for that Julian Jari, Robert Maddox film, Rocket Man. And wow, what a treat. I'm going to look for any other questions coming in here, but otherwise, see you tomorrow at Wednesday, and have a fantastic Thanksgiving no matter where you are in the world. I do see some text bubbles coming in, so I'll just rack through this a little more. I'm going to throw up a Mercury one more time before we go and sign off for the day. While those questions are coming in, and comment, what is your favorite Peztvalux lens? What is your favorite Mercury Series lens? What is your favorite Atlas lens? And are you an Atlas burger? That's what I'm having for Thanksgiving dinner, an Atlas burger, baby. Did you guys see that? We have a little online toy called Which Atlas Lens Are You?
No, I love that.
You have to try it.
That's fun.
It's like a little roulette. So
Yeah.
you'll cycle through the roulette.
Sure.
You hold the screen, and then it'll tell you which one you are.
I like it.
We'll sign off with my favorite Mercury Series lens, the 42. And I'll be looking for any more questions coming in. I don't see any yet, so guess I wasn't entertaining enough for y'all today to comment, like, and subscribe, as they say on the YouTubes.
Is that the smallest one? That's got to be the
Thing's
smallest,
tiny.
right?
The 42 is the
ridiculous.
smallest, yeah.
It's great.
Do the tuning ring numbers correspond to anything on a Peztvalux lens? And does a 3 on one lens match up to a 3 on a different lens?
Great question.
That's a great question. They do correspond to something. So since all of the marks are shifting, the only thing that we could provide as an anchor point is infinity. So there is, as you change your tuning ring, so let's say to a 7, there's also a 7 on the focus ring that says BC7, not just a normal, but it says BC7 bokeh control 7. and that is now your new infinity mark for focus. But the rest of the scale is still going to be off, but it does give you some reference point. What was the other one?
And I mean, as far as like consistent from lens to lens, like I would say the effect, especially in regards to how it affects bokeh, is extremely consistent across the set. I think one of the few things that has some variance from lens to lens is how much things fall off and how focus falls off from center to the edges. That does vary a little bit from lens to lens. Of some of them actually have like you'll lose center sharpness, and you'll like lose a little contrast, and you'll see the sweet spot change a little bit. Some the sweet spot stays kind of the same. Some it changes drastically. But I feel like the set is really consistent in its overall character. But I think that's the one thing where it varies a little bit, is like just how big the sweet spot is from focal length to focal length, from from dialing it from 1 to 7.
For sure, and also most noticeable on the bigger sensors.
Yeah. But it really is just an indication. Like 1 is the lowest, 7 is the highest, as far as like dialing in character, and 3 is around the middle. So yeah, 3 is going to be consistent in regards to that.
Yeah, I'd say if we're talking about the swirling effect, it's very consistent. I think 2s and 3s on one lens is going to match a 2 and a 3 on another lens.
I have one final very important question for everyone out there on the stream, as well as for you gentlemen. So we like to ask all of our guests, are you team bokeh or team bokeh?
I'm bokeh.
I'm bokeh.
So we're opposite sides.
We'll have to fight it out off stream.
Yeah.
Leave a comment. Are you team bokeh or team bokeh? I'm okay, bokeh. Hope you guys all have a fantastic Thanksgiving. Have an Atlas burger, have an Aldous burger if you're up for it. And we will see you next Tuesday, or we'll see you tomorrow, Wednesday, here at Atlas headquarters in Glendale, California. Stay safe, stay sane, have a great time. Check out the Peztvalux lenses at Old Fast Glass. Check out the Mercury series lenses. Rent them at Old Fast Glass, or come check them out. Try them hands-on here at Atlas Lens Co. every Wednesday. See you soon. Peace out.